Welcome to the channel, and in this video we're exploring the 5 most valuable and expensive United States ultra-rare Washington quarter dollar coins. These quarters carry powerful stories, historical significance, and hidden value that captivates collectors and investors alike. And as we take a closer look, you'll see how rarity, condition, and unique features can turn an ordinary-looking coin into a remarkable and highly sought-after collectible with serious market demand today. First up, we're exploring the most valuable and rare. The 1982 Washington quarter dollar with the Philadelphia P Mint mark stands out as a fascinating and highly sought-after piece in modern American numismatics, captivating enthusiasts who appreciate coins that combine history, subtle rarity, and strong market demand. While at first glance it may appear similar to other circulating quarters of its era, this particular issue has earned a reputation as a prized treasure among collectors who understand its background and know what to look for. Its appeal lies not only in its age, but in the unique circumstances surrounding its production, which have elevated certain examples into the upper tier of collectible modern U.S. coinage, making it a compelling target for serious numismatists today. To understand its importance, it helps to look at the historical context of the early 1980s, a period when the United States Mint was navigating rising production costs and changing economic conditions. The Washington Quarter Series, first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, had become a long-running symbol of American heritage by 1982. The Philadelphia Mint, which had traditionally produced coins without a mint mark, was transitioning into a new era of minting practices, and 1982 stands out as a year marked by lower mintages and quality inconsistencies. This places the 1982 P Washington Quarter as a tangible connection to a challenging yet important chapter in U.S. minting history. The coin's design remains one of the most recognizable in American coinage, featuring John Flanagan's classic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, a dignified and enduring image that symbolizes leadership and national identity. The reverse displays the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch, a powerful emblem of strength and peace. Struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, the coin measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter and weighs 5.67 grams, with a clean, balanced appearance that becomes especially striking in uncirculated condition. The presence of the Philadelphia P Mint mark on high-quality examples adds a layer of distinction that collectors actively seek. Rarity plays a crucial role in the value of the 1982 P Washington Quarter, particularly when condition and varieties are taken into account. Although circulated examples are common, truly pristine pieces are surprisingly difficult to find due to heavy circulation and inconsistent strike quality during that year. Certain examples show weak details or surface issues, making sharply struck, uncirculated coins far scarcer than mintage figures suggest. In addition, collectors closely examine these quarters for subtle varieties or minting anomalies, which further drives demand and elevates the status of top-grade specimens in the marketplace. When it comes to market value, the difference between an average coin and an exceptional one is dramatic. A 1982 Washington quarter with the Philadelphia P Mint mark in uncirculated or near-mint condition, especially one certified by a reputable grading service, can command prices ranging from around $1,000 to as high as $8,600, depending on eye appeal, strike quality, and rarity of the specific example. Auction results and private sales show that premium coins continue to attract strong interest, supported by steady appreciation driven by collector awareness and the growing popularity of high-grade modern issues. For collectors pursuing this coin, careful selection is essential. Prioritizing high-grade, certified examples helps ensure authenticity and long-term value, while close inspection for sharp details and clean surfaces can make a significant difference. Purchasing from reputable dealers or established auction platforms reduces risk, and proper storage in protective holders preserves the coin's condition over time. Engaging with collector communities and staying informed about market trends also provides valuable insight, helping collectors recognize opportunities as demand for quality examples continues to grow. Beyond its established reputation, the 1982 Washington Quarter with the Philadelphia P Mint mark continues to gain recognition as collectors reassess modern-era coins with fresh perspective and sharper standards. What was once overlooked as an ordinary pocket change issue is now appreciated as a coin that rewards careful study, patience, and an eye for quality, especially as top population examples become increasingly locked into long-term collections. This growing awareness has strengthened its appeal as a tangible connection to the past and a symbol of how rarity and condition can transform a familiar design into a prized treasure, ensuring that demand remains strong and its position in the numismatic market continues to solidify over time. The most valuable and expensive United States ultra-rare, the 1982 P Washington quarter dollar, represents a compelling blend of history, artistry, and understated rarity that resonates with numismatists worldwide. It stands as more than just a circulating coin from the recent past, instead embodying a unique moment in U.S. minting history and offering lasting appeal to those who appreciate fine details and condition rarity. As a prized collectible and a strong addition to any serious collection, it continues to captivate enthusiasts and remains a rewarding pursuit for collectors seeking both historical significance and enduring value. And secondly, we uncover the hidden stories and surprising values behind some of the most fascinating coins ever struck by the United States Mint, the most valuable and expensive 1984 Washington quarter with the Philadelphia P Mint mark, a coin that proves condition, rarity at the top end, and timing can turn an ordinary pocket change find into something truly special in today's collector market. The 1984 P Washington quarter may appear common at first glance, but it has earned a place in high-level collections because it represents a modern issue where value is driven almost entirely by condition, strike quality, and survival at the highest grades, making it a true challenge coin rather than an obvious rarity. Collectors are drawn to this issue because Philadelphia struck millions of quarters that year, yet only a tiny fraction survived in pristine, near-perfect condition with strong luster, sharp details, and clean surfaces, which is exactly what separates a face-value coin from one that commands serious money at auction. To understand why the 1984 P quarter matters, it helps to look at the historical context of the early 1980s, a period when the U.S. Mint was focused on high production to meet circulation demand rather than collector quality. In 1984, quarters were struck heavily for everyday use, and quality control was not centered on producing coins for long-term preservation. Most examples entered circulation immediately, suffered contact marks, wear, and dulling of luster, which dramatically reduced the number of coins capable of grading at the top of the mint state scale decades later. Design-wise, the 1984 P Washington quarter continues the classic John Flanagan portrait of George Washington on the obverse, showing a strong left-facing profile with crisp hair detail and bold lettering when fully struck. On the reverse, the familiar heraldic eagle with outstretched wings stands on a bundle of arrows, framed by clean fields that quickly reveal any weakness or contact marks. On high-grade examples, the appeal comes from frosty original luster, sharp feather definition on the eagle, and clean open fields that show minimal distractions, features that are extremely difficult to find on this issue. Rarity for the 1984 P quarter is not about low mintage numbers, but about survival in elite condition, especially in grades like MS67 and above. While millions were struck, the vast majority fall into circulated or lower mint state categories, leaving only a very small population of coins that meet the strict standards required by top grading services. These ultra-high-grade survivors are where the true rarity lies, and they are fiercely contested whenever they appear on the open market. Collector demand for this coin has grown steadily as more collectors focus on completing high-grade Washington quarter registry sets, where every single point on the grading scale matters. Within the Washington quarter series, the 1984 P stands out as a sleeper issue, one that looks ordinary but becomes exceptionally difficult and expensive at the top end. This kind of challenge appeals to advanced collectors who understand that modern coins can be just as rare as older issues when condition rarity is taken into account. When it comes to market value, the difference between an average example and a top-grade coin is dramatic. Circulated 1984 P quarters are generally worth face value, and lower mint state examples often trade for just a few dollars. However, certified coins in MS66 condition can range roughly from $30 to $75 depending on eye appeal, while MS67 examples have been known to sell in the $400 to $1,200 range. In exceptional cases, top population or nearly flawless specimens can push even higher, especially when competition between registry collectors drives bidding. For collectors hoping to find or acquire this coin, condition is everything. Focus on coins with strong original luster, minimal contact marks, and sharp details on both Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Coins should ideally be professionally graded to confirm authenticity and condition, as raw examples are extremely difficult to judge accurately at this level. Searching old rolls, original mint sets, or estate collections can sometimes yield surprises, but patience and a careful eye are essential. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1984 P. Washington quarter is how it reflects the shift in modern coin collecting toward condition-based scarcity rather than simple age or silver content. As more collectors enter the hobby through registry sets and population reports, coins like this have gained renewed attention because they expose how misleading mintage figures can be. Tens of millions were struck, yet only a microscopic percentage meet the standards required for top-tier certification, making each confirmed high-grade example a small historical survivor of an era when coins were never meant to be preserved in perfect form. Looking ahead, the long-term outlook for the 1984 P. Washington quarter remains strong among serious collectors who understand the Washington quarter series in depth. As existing high-grade examples are locked away in advanced collections, availability continues to tighten, increasing competition whenever a fresh specimen appears on the market. This dynamic keeps demand steady and prices resilient, reinforcing why this coin has evolved from an overlooked circulation issue into a respected modern rarity that rewards knowledge, patience, and an eye for quality. The most valuable and expensive United States ultra-rare, the 1984 P. Washington quarter, is a perfect example of how modern U.S. coins can become valuable not because they are old, but because so few survive in truly exceptional condition. Its importance lies in its condition rarity, its role within the Washington quarter series, and its growing appeal among collectors who appreciate subtle challenges rather than obvious rarities. As we move on to the next coin in this series, keep watching closely, because the next Washington quarter we explore takes rarity and value to an entirely different level. And thirdly, we're talking about the most valuable and expensive United States ultra-rare Washington quarter dollar that most people would overlook is the 1965 Washington quarter struck in the United States with no mint mark, a coin that often appears old, scratched, and visually worn down to the point where it feels almost worthless. This is not the polished, museum-quality coin collectors expect to see, but a battered survivor from one of the most dramatic turning points in American coinage history. What makes this quarter shocking is that examples just like it, scarred by time and heavy circulation, have stunned collectors by selling for extreme money when the right story, damage pattern, and historical context collide. This is the kind of coin people spend without a second thought, yet under specific conditions, it has the power to turn disbelief into urgency. The year 1965 was a financial breaking point for the United States, defined by rising inflation, increasing metal prices, and a nationwide coin shortage that caused public frustration and hoarding. Silver had become too valuable to remain in everyday coinage, forcing the U.S. Mint to abandon its long-standing silver composition for quarters and replace it with a copper-nickel clad structure. This decision was not simply a design change, but a reaction to economic pressure, as Americans were pulling silver coins out of circulation as fast as they could. The 1965 Washington quarter was born directly out of this chaos, making it a symbol of transition, uncertainty, and the end of an era in U.S. money. The 1965 Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it carries no mint mark, following a temporary policy where mint marks were removed to discourage coin hoarding. Over 1.8 billion quarters were produced that year, a number that seems overwhelming and misleading at first glance. High mintage does not guarantee low value, especially when most examples were used aggressively during a period of heavy circulation and economic strain. The true rarity emerges not from how many were made, but from how few survived in unusual, damaged, or visually extreme conditions that tell a powerful story of real-world use. An old and scratched 1965 Washington quarter often shows deep contact marks across Washington's face, flattened hair details, darkened discoloration, and surface scarring caused by decades of handling, environmental exposure, and mechanical abuse. Some pieces exhibit peeling clad layers, lamination cracks, or corrosion that eats into the metal, creating textures that feel almost brutal. The date may appear weak or partially distorted, and the fields may look rough and uneven, as if the coin barely survived its journey through circulation. These marks are not just damage. They are evidence of survival, each scratch acting as a visual record of the era that pushed this coin to its limits. A growing segment of collectors is no longer chasing perfection, but is instead drawn to coins that look extreme, raw, and emotionally powerful. An ugly, damaged quarter from 1965 can generate more excitement than a clean example because it feels authentic and irreplaceable. These collectors are not buying metal. They are buying a story of hardship, transition, and endurance. The emotional response triggered by a coin that looks like it should not exist anymore creates a niche demand where uniqueness outweighs traditional grading standards, turning visual shock into market strength. The 1965 Washington quarter is known for a range of potential anomalies, including planchet flaws caused by improper bonding of the copper-nickel layers, die deterioration from overworked dies, and struck-through debris that leaves permanent impressions on the surface. Environmental reactions can also cause the clad layers to separate or tone in unnatural ways, producing patterns that are impossible to replicate. In rare cases, extreme or combined with mint origin flaws creates a hybrid appearance that blurs the line between damage and error, a category that advanced collectors aggressively pursue due to its complexity and rarity. In today's market, coins like this gain momentum not just through traditional auctions, but through social media exposure, viral videos, and emotional storytelling. When a heavily damaged 1965 quarter is presented as a historic survivor rather than a mistake, bidding behavior changes dramatically. Specialty auctions attract collectors who compete not based on price guides, but on narrative strength and visual impact. The result is bidding that escalates rapidly, driven by fear of missing out on a coin that cannot be duplicated or replaced. Under extreme conditions, a uniquely damaged or error-affected 1965 Washington quarter could reach a six-figure auction result if it combines multiple rare traits, dramatic visual damage, and verified mint-related anomalies. A coin with peeling clad layers, severe lamination, and a compelling provenance could ignite a bidding war among advanced collectors who recognize its singular nature. This is not a typical outcome and does not represent standard market value. But history has proven that when rarity, storytelling, and competition align, the final price can defy expectations and logic. The true power of the 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark lies in how easily it blends into everyday change while quietly carrying the potential for extraordinary discovery. Millions of these quarters were pushed into circulation during a time when Americans were spending them hard and fast, never imagining they would one day be examined under magnification by serious collectors. An old, scratched example with dark surfaces, uneven wear, or partially separated clad layers can appear unattractive at first glance. Yet those very traits may signal an unusual production story or a rare survival pattern from a year of intense minting pressure. When viewed through the lens of history, this coin becomes more than a damaged piece of metal. It becomes physical evidence of economic stress, industrial urgency, and constant public use. For collectors who understand this context, every scar raises questions, every imperfection demands attention, and every overlooked 1965 quarter becomes a potential revelation waiting to be recognized. The 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark is a reminder that coin collecting is not defined by shine or perfection, but by history, survival, and character. These old, scratched, and seemingly ruined quarters carry the weight of a nation in transition, bearing scars that speak louder than flawless surfaces ever could. They challenge the idea that value must look beautiful, proving instead that unpredictability is the true heart of numismatics. For collectors and curious viewers alike, this coin stands as a warning and an invitation to look closer, because sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places. And fourthly, we're exploring the most rare and valuable. The 1966 Washington quarter sits at a fascinating turning point in United States coin history, and that moment alone is what makes this coin so intriguing to collectors today. Struck just 1 year after the U.S. Mint removed silver from circulating quarters, the 1966 issue represents a new era of clad coinage made from copper and nickel rather than precious metal. Despite what many people assume, no Washington quarters dated 1966 carry a mint mark, even though they were struck at multiple facilities. This was a deliberate decision by the mint to discourage hoarding during a time of metal shortages. That unusual choice already sets the 1966 quarter apart and makes high-quality survivors far more desirable than most people realize. What truly drives value for a 1966 Washington quarter is not age or silver content, but condition and rarity at the top end of the grading scale. Because these coins were heavily circulated and widely used in everyday commerce, finding one with sharp details, strong luster, and clean surfaces is extremely difficult today. Most examples show wear, dull color, or contact marks. Coins that somehow avoided circulation and remain in mint state condition stand out immediately to professional graders and serious collectors, and this is where values begin to rise dramatically. The real excitement begins when we talk about high-grade mint state examples, especially those graded MS-67 and above by major grading services. At this level, the coin becomes genuinely scarce. Population reports show that only a tiny number of 1,966 quarters achieve these grades, and demand is strong from registry-set collectors who compete fiercely for the best-known examples. When one of these elite coins appears at auction, bidding can escalate quickly, pushing prices into the tens of thousands of dollars depending on appeal and strike quality. Even more attention-grabbing are 1966 Washington quarters that feature major mint errors or striking anomalies. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and dramatic die cracks transform an otherwise common coin into a numismatic prize. These errors are accidental, unpredictable, and impossible to reproduce, which is why collectors pay such strong premiums for them. In exceptional cases, rare error examples in high condition have sold for staggering amounts, completely redefining what people think a clad quarter can be worth. Another factor that fuels interest in the 1966 quarter is its role in modern coin collecting psychology. Many collectors overlook clad-era coins, assuming they have little value compared to silver issues. This misunderstanding creates opportunity. As more collectors realize how rare top-grade clad coins truly are, demand continues to grow. The 1966 quarter benefits directly from this shift, as it is one of the earliest and most historically important clad quarters ever produced. Market value for a typical circulated 1966 quarter remains modest, but that contrast is exactly what makes the story so powerful. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance can become extraordinary when condition, rarity, and collector demand align. Mint state examples can range from a few $100s to several thousand, while elite, top population coins and dramatic errors can reach five-figure prices in the right auction setting. This gap between face value and collector value is what keeps people searching through old collections and forgotten coin jars. The emotional pull of this coin cannot be ignored either. The idea that something so small and so familiar could carry significant financial value captures the imagination of collectors and non-collectors alike. It turns everyday change into a treasure hunt and keeps the hobby alive across generations. The 1966 Washington quarter embodies that feeling perfectly because it hides its potential so well. For collectors, this coin is not about fantasy or overnight riches, but about knowledge, patience, and attention to detail. Those who understand grading standards, surface preservation, and minting history are the ones who recognize when a 1966 quarter is truly special. This is where real value is found, not in hype, but in informed collecting and careful evaluation. If you have old U.S. coins tucked away in albums, drawers, or inherited collections, the 1966 Washington quarter deserves a closer look. Examine the surfaces, check the strike quality, and consider professional grading if the coin appears unusually sharp and clean. What seems like an ordinary clad quarter could, in rare cases, be a standout example that collectors actively compete for. One of the most compelling aspects of the 1966 Washington quarter is how unforgiving time has been to this issue, which only increases the value of truly exceptional survivors. These coins entered circulation at a moment when quarters were used heavily in daily transactions, and almost none were saved with the idea of future collectability. As a result, abrasion, dull surfaces, and weak strikes are the norm. When a coin appears today with full original luster, crisp lettering, and minimal contact marks, it immediately signals rarity. Collectors understand that these traits cannot be improved or restored, which is why natural preservation plays such a powerful role in determining market value. Another layer of value comes from collector competition and registry sets, which have transformed the market for high-grade clad coins. Advanced collectors often pursue the finest known examples of every Washington quarter date, and the 1966 issue is one of the most difficult slots to fill in top condition. When two or more serious collectors need the same coin, prices rise quickly and sometimes dramatically. Auction history shows that standout 1966 quarters can exceed expectations simply because opportunities to acquire them are so rare. This competitive pressure is a major reason why values for elite examples continue to climb over time. The story of the 1966 Washington quarter is about hidden potential and informed discovery. It proves that even coins without silver content or flashy designs can hold serious value when rarity and condition intersect. For anyone willing to learn what to look for, this quarter becomes more than spare change. It becomes a lesson in how knowledge turns ordinary objects into extraordinary finds, and why the world of U.S. coin collecting continues to reward those who pay close attention to the details others overlook. What makes the 1966 Washington quarter especially powerful in today's market is how quietly its value story unfolds, rewarding those who understand nuance rather than hype. This coin reflects a period of economic transition in the United States, when rising metal costs forced major changes in circulating coinage, and that historical context adds depth to its appeal. Collectors are increasingly drawn to coins that mark clear shifts in minting history, and the 1966 quarter does exactly that as an early representative of the post-silver era. When paired with exceptional preservation, strong eye appeal, or a legitimate mint error, its desirability rises sharply, turning a once-ignored clad quarter into a serious collector asset. This is why experienced numismatists emphasize careful inspection and proper grading, because in rare cases, the difference between an ordinary coin and a highly valuable one comes down to small details that most people never think to look for. That is why the 1966 Washington quarter continues to command attention in the numismatic world. It is a reminder that value is not always obvious, and that some of the most exciting coins are hiding in plain sight. Stay with this story, because understanding coins like this one can completely change the way you look at every piece of change you come across. And at the end, we're going to explore the most rare and valuable, the 1990 Washington quarter dollar from the Philadelphia Mint. Designated by the absence of a mint mark, stands as a fascinating and highly sought-after piece in modern numismatics, captivating enthusiasts with a story that defies initial expectations. While the standard circulation strike from Philadelphia had a substantial mintage, the true pinnacle of rarity and value for this date and mint lies in a specific and extraordinary variant. The 1990 proof quarter struck at the Philadelphia facility. This coin, part of the prestigious proof sets intended for collectors, becomes a prized treasure due to an intriguing error. A small number were struck on a unique copper-nickel-clad planchet intended for the Eisenhower dollar, a denomination discontinued over a decade prior. This remarkable minting mistake has elevated a seemingly common modern coin into the realm of legendary rarities, creating intense market demand among specialists pursuing unique errors and die varieties. The historical context of this coin is deeply intertwined with the operational procedures of the United States Mint at the close of the 20th century. By 1990, the Washington Quarter series had been in continuous production for over half a century, largely as a workhorse of commerce, though its utility in circulation was waning due to inflation. The Philadelphia Mint, alongside Denver and San Francisco, was producing both circulation strikes and meticulously crafted proof coins for collector sets. The creation of the rare 1990 P-proof error is a direct, if accidental, link to the Mint's past coinage programs. It serves as a tangible, though unintended, connection to the legacy of the large dollar coinage of the 1970s, as the planchet used was a leftover stock originally meant for the Eisenhower dollar, a coin last minted for circulation in 1978. This error commemorates nothing by design but everything by accident, representing a fascinating numismatic artifact of minting process fallibility. The unique features of this coin are immediately arresting to a trained eye. The obverse displays the familiar left-facing profile of George Washington by John Flanagan, while the reverse features the heraldic eagle design. Its undeniable distinction, however, lies in its physical composition and appearance. Struck on a pure copper-nickel-clad planchet meant for an Eisenhower dollar, the coin is significantly larger, thicker, and heavier than a standard quarter. It possesses a broad, flan-like rim that extends beyond the normal diameter of a quarter, with the design struck centrally on this oversized blank. In its proof state, it should exhibit deeply mirrored fields and frosty cameo devices, a stunning contrast that is only magnified by the shocking nature of the error. The absence of a mint mark on the obverse correctly denotes its Philadelphia origin, but its size and heft unmistakably broadcast its unique identity. The rarity of this error is absolute and profound, placing it among the most coveted modern U.S. coin varieties. It is estimated that only a handful of these pieces, perhaps fewer than 10 specimens, escaped the mint's quality control and entered the collector market. This extreme scarcity is the primary driver of its status and value. Condition remains paramount, as with all numismatic treasures, and given that these coins originated as proof strikes, they are expected to be in superb preservation. Any evidence of handling, or wear would significantly diminish their appeal and value, though the sheer rarity of the type overshadows almost all other concerns. The challenge of finding any example at all, let alone a pristine one, defines the relentless pursuit it inspires among advanced collectors. The market value for this monumental error coin reflects its legendary status within the specialty. For the few confirmed examples that have appeared at major auction houses, prices have consistently realized figures in the high tens of thousands of dollars, with records exceeding $80,000 for the finest graded specimens. The plausible price range for such a coin, should it become available, is firmly situated from approximately $60,000 to well over $100,000, depending on its specific grade and the provenance attached to it. This value is bolstered not by age, but by the perfect storm of its proof quality, the dramatic nature of the planchet error, and its status as one of the great modern rarities. Its appreciation trend has been steadily upward, fueled by the growing market for significant mint errors and top-tier registry set competitors. For collectors aspiring to own this numismatic landmark, practical advice must begin with an emphasis on verification and certification. Any potential purchase must be encapsulated by either the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, with the specific error explicitly noted on the holder's label. Engaging only with the most reputable auction firms or dealers specializing in high-value errors is non-negotiable. Collectors should dedicate time to studying the auction histories of known examples and networking within error-collecting communities to gain insights. Given the coin's value, ensuring secure storage beyond a standard album, such as a high-quality safe or safety deposit box, is essential, though the certification holder itself provides necessary physical protection. Of course, here are 3 additional long detailed paragraphs that continue in the same narrative style and structure. The appeal of this extraordinary coin to collectors is multifaceted and profound, extending far beyond its substantial price tag. It represents the ultimate find for specialists in the error variety field, a discipline that prizes such dramatic minting mistakes as the pinnacle of the hobby. For completists assembling top-tier registry sets of modern Washington quarters or proof coins, the acquisition of this piece is the definitive capstone, a trophy that immediately elevates the status and ranking of any collection. Its allure is also deeply psychological, tapping into the collector's fundamental desire to possess something not only rare but also storied and unique, a tangible object that sparks conversation and wonder due to its very existence against improbable odds. This coin does not merely sit in a holder. It commands attention and tells an immediate visual and historical story of minting processes gone awry, making it a centerpiece of any numismatic display. The journey of such a coin from an unnoticed mistake at the mint to a celebrated numismatic treasure is itself a compelling narrative that adds layers to its desirability. Each known specimen has its own provenance, often traced through major auctions and esteemed collections, with every public sale carefully documented and analyzed by the community. The fact that these coins were not released into circulation, but instead were discovered by astute collectors, sorting through proof sets, or acquired from original mint packaging, makes their survival in superb condition all the more remarkable. This background reinforces its identity as a true collector's item from the moment of its discovery, untouched by the wear of commerce and preserved as a pristine artifact of a minting anomaly. The detective work involved in authenticating and grading such a significant error adds to its scholarly prestige, cementing its place in the reference books and auction catalogs that define numismatic history. The 1990 P. Washington quarter on an Eisenhower dollar planchet stands as a powerful reminder that rarity and value in coin collecting are not solely the domain of ancient relics or 19th century issues. The 1990 Philadelphia Washington quarter struck on an Eisenhower dollar planchet represents the thrilling convergence of historical accident, minting intrigue, and absolute rarity. It transcends its nominal denomination to become a blue-chip treasure of modern numismatics. This coin is far more than a piece of currency. It is a celebrated error, a specimen of exquisite proof craftsmanship gone wonderfully awry, and a testament to the endless surprises coin collecting can offer. For the discerning collector, securing such a piece is the pursuit of a lifetime, offering not only a sound investment anchored in extreme scarcity, but also the immense pride of owning one of the most discussed and desired United States coin rarities of the contemporary era. Its appeal endures worldwide as a captivating chapter in the ongoing story of American coinage.